Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Catty Chats Live. This is the monthly live episode of Cat Ladies for America's weekly podcast, Catty Chat. I'm Blair Postman. I am the founder of Cat Ladies for America, and I am coming to you from the Catio. So in Catty Chats, our podcast, each week we talk to people working to make things suck less in new and interesting ways. And during our live episodes, we're going to end, like tonight, with specific calls to action on the subjects that we're discussing in the episode together here in the live stream. And we're going to send you some takeaways through Substack after the event tonight. So those are going to be going out on Wednesday. So if you haven't already and you would like to get the links, the information about the panelists, the follow-up actions and so forth, so you don't have to worry about taking notes and stuff tonight, you can go ahead and subscribe in our to our Substack. That's on the homepage of our website, catladiesforamerica.com. It's also going to be put in the chat here, because we're not just relying on our smart and expert guests on these Catty Chat Lives to get us through this clown show. We're going to be doing stuff to make things suck less together towards the end of each live stream. We cannot wait until September, October, November to get going, to get active, and to get acclimated to what's going on in the world. The first action tonight, show us pictures of your cats in the comments section here on the live stream. And also, what office will they run for? What office are they most suited for? What are they, what are their aspirations? And for those of you who are just joining us, Corey, the captain of our Action Cats division, will be bringing important actions to your attention at the end of this. And they're also going to be putting them out in the Substack on Wednesday afternoon. So if you haven't subscribed to our Substack, there is a link that we put in the chat. You can see it up here. It's just Cat Ladies for America on the Substack app. It's completely free. But also, we are an organization that runs fully on volunteers, caffeine, and rage. Still, even though we're all volunteer, a lot of the platforms, the software, and the hardware that we use to organize effectively, to produce events like this, and to put out emails with the actions, they do cost money, and it's more than we can take out of just our take-home pay. So if you do go on Substack and you have the wherewithal to do so, we appreciate any kind of donation. Any amount is perfect, but you do not have to ever pay to get our content, if that is not something within your means. On our Substack, it's not just action items or takeaways, but our interviews from our podcasts, breaking news stories that we often do with partners, like the one we published at the beginning of last week about what was going on the ground at Delaney Detention Center, interviews with folks like Chris Van Hollen and Fubar Pak. And even one of our guests tonight has been on our podcast and interviewed by us. All kinds of great things come from subscribing to our Substack. And our next Catty Chats Live is Sunday, June 28th. And it's going to be focused on all kinds of special circumstances and, unfortunately, threats that our LGBTQIA friends are facing right now, along with their families, and the actions that we can take to help them in this moment. I am going to start bringing up our guests to the stage one by one. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's meet your claws out for voting rights panelists. Joining us in the box, because he is actually been called back to session and is in the Louisiana State House, is Devontae Lewis, who is the Louisiana Public Service Commissioner, an elected state constitutional office that oversees that state's independent regulatory agency, which manages public utilities and motor carriers. He was vice chair of that commission until February 2025, when the larger board elected to demote him after he called the governor of Louisiana, Governor Landry, an asshole. Now, first of all, I'd probably be fine with that under really any circumstance. But for further context, the remark came due to a response to the governor, who had mocked Dr. Rachel Levine, an admiral in the United States Public Health Service and Commission Corps, and a pediatrician who happens to be a trans woman. So, big claps for standing up for our allies there. We also have Dara Johnson, who is associate staff attorney at the ACLU of Maryland. She supports a range of efforts, including litigating against voting rights attacks, and led the organization's push to enact the Maryland Voting Rights Act. She is also a verified cat lady. And then finally, it's our friend Kate Barr. She is the founder of Can't Win Victory Fund, which runs real candidates in serious campaigns for races they're supposed to lose, often due to extreme intentional gerrymandering. When Democrats don't show up, voters don't engage, infrastructure disappears, and nothing changes. She made waves as a fake Republican in the GOP primary. That's my phrase, not hers. In the GOP primary for her ultra gerrymandered U.S. House Congressional District in Western North Carolina. And she is also co-founder of the new organization, Y'all Vote, which is for Southern content creators working to flip state houses across the South. Dara, we have just witnessed the decimation, I think it's fair to say, of the Voting Rights Act. And also then, subsequently, almost immediately, a bunch of states, mostly in the South, falling all over each other and themselves to sort of take us back to the voting situation of like maybe 1952. Can you tell us the importance of what has happened in the Calais decision that just came down from the Supreme Court and a bit about the aftermath? Oh, her audio is not working. And Devante is in the bowels of the House chamber in Louisiana. So, Kate, we're going to start. Kate, I don't want you to feel like we're coming to you just because no one else is currently available to talk.
It's fine, Blair. It's how I feel. It's okay.
So you have been very active in all things in the South when it comes to voting rights. Wondering what you can see from your race this year, but what you may have noticed, I know you're not a legal scholar, but what you may have noticed that's important about or so substantial about this decimation of the Voting Rights Act by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, so you are correct. I am not a legal scholar, but what I can tell you is that the Calais decision for us, for my work, basically means that we assumed this, like we assume the South is going to get gerrymandered to hell from here on out. Like it was already bad, and now they're going to make it worse. They're going to take away as many minority or really Black voting districts as they possibly can. And by they, I mean the GOP, because what they want to do is hold as many seats without competition as possible. It sounds also like Dara might be able to come in and rescue me on the legal front.
I'll speak directly to the context here in Maryland because it is a bit different for states that do have a state voting rights act. And so, you know, here in Maryland, where the voting rights, a state-based voting rights act was just passed just this past month, that means that for local elections, specifically county and municipal elections that are covered by that state voting rights act, they have less issues to worry about in terms of being able to challenge any vote dilution type of issues there versus those that are not covered by that state voting rights act. But even then, this, you know, decisions, it has broad issues. The issues are numerous, really too numerous to name here. But, and so even for those states that do have a voting rights act, there are issues that this decision still poses. And for Maryland, that means when it comes to remedies, because part of the decision really talks about the court's perspective that when it comes to using redistricting to remedy vote dilution. So where there's already been a finding that, you know, there is racial discrimination happening through vote dilution, that it's still, in the court's view, unconstitutional to consider race in drawing a new map to fix it. And because that finding was under the Equal Protection Clause, which can still, you know, has broad application within the states, that means even in states with the Voting Rights Act, it can still affect what remedies are available to fix vote dilution. So here in Maryland and in a lot of other states, what that means is focusing on alternative remedies, alternative election systems that are race neutral, but can still achieve more balanced voting power without having to account for race. So those things include things like limited voting, ranked choice voting, which is, you know, really popular here, and cumulative voting.
For everybody who may not quite understand what's happening, Dara can hear Kate Barr, but nobody else. So that's
this
why
is the way I like it.
Yes, Kate is in charge of everything, just like she likes it. You did not know this, but Kate is a control freak. And now for a little bit on the ground response to what's the aftermath of Calais. If you could, Commissioner Lewis, if we could go to you, I wanted to ask you, since the Calais decision from the Supreme Court that came down that gutted the Voting Rights Act was a case that was based out of Louisiana, and it has caused a lot of chaos in your state, in your home state. Can you tell us a little bit about what the real world ramifications have been versus, what the maybe Supreme Court was claiming they would be when they gutted the Voting Rights Act?
No, absolutely. And first, let me say it's a pleasure to join you all. As you heard earlier, we are still in legislative session, and it ends tomorrow at 6 p.m. And so the House and the Senate came in about 15 minutes ago. So I am actually outside of the Capitol. I've taken my sports coat off to try.
This is Action Cats, like for real.
Very
for
Action
real.
Cat. As you can imagine, it's very hot in Louisiana, so I got a little comfortable by being outside. But the real world ramifications have been wild here in Louisiana. I want to first contextualize what happened. So in 2022, Louisiana, even though we are a third Black, and we have 6 congressional districts, so if you think about math, 1/3 of 6 should be 2. Black Louisianians should get 2 congressional districts. And the Louisiana legislature at the time passed only 1 district that was minority majority. So 9 individual plaintiffs, including myself, sued the state of Louisiana to ask for a fair map. And after a lot of litigation, the state legislature redrew a map that created a 4-2, 4 white majority seats, 2 primarily Black majority seats. And then it was challenged by 9 plaintiffs who called themselves non-Black plaintiffs, known as Calais, which that case went all the way up to the Supreme Court, and then pretty much gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And what we've seen not only here in Louisiana, but across the country, is a record pace among southern states to undo voting power. Now, the Supreme Court has argued that there was no reason for Section 2 or Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act because America has become post-racial.
Oh.
But since Calais, we've watched Alabama try to redistrict. We've watched Mississippi try to redistrict. We've watched South Carolina try to redistrict. We watched Florida redistrict. Louisiana, the state that started this case, I want to remind you, Calais came down on a Wednesday. Early voting started in our elections on a Saturday. 42,000 people had already voted by absentee ballot, and our governor used a law that is normally used for hurricanes or natural disasters to suspend the election for Congress and eliminate 42,000 people that have already voted. And then while we were in regular session, snuck in a provision that says not only did we suspend this election, we're going to change the election dates, we're going to redistrict the congressional districts, and we're going to make it illegal for the Secretary of State to announce the votes that were cast. So people went to the ballot box, they voted for their member of Congress, it showed up on their ballots, and the now state law says if you reveal that, you are violating the law by saying who actually won that election. And so what we've really seen here,
my God,
is this wild kind of conservative majority that just doesn't believe in Black voting rights and have used everything. And the Supreme Court's ruling is very convoluted. They said, well, you can do partisan gerrymandering, you just can't do racial gerrymandering. Let me tell you, I'm a son of the South. I've been born and raised here. There is no such difference between racial gerrymandering and partisan gerrymandering, particularly in the South. So basically what the Supreme Court said, unless you can draw a Black district that would elect a white Republican, it's not a violation of the Voting Rights Act. Simply blasphemy. And this has been John Roberts' career. He started as a young lawyer trying to curl back the Voting Rights Act, and now as Chief Justice, he finally accomplished his goal.
What a creepy dream. Can you imagine being like a 20-year-old like college student and that's your sad dream? Sorry, go ahead.
No, and the last thing I will say is the reality of what this decision means. This is not just about Congress. I want to be very clear. The Voting Rights Act protects districts and gives opportunity for Black, Asian, Hispanic people to elect a candidate of their choice at every level. There is not a single person who is of minority descent in Louisiana in a legislative office, whether that's school board, city council, state legislature that does not serve in an opportunity district created by the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Theoretically means local state government can eliminate every black elected official in Louisiana simply because of this decision. And so I want us to be very clear. They're starting with Congress, but they're coming for our state legislators next. We see this in Mississippi. They're going to come for your city council. They're going to come for your school board. If you have elected judges, they're coming for your elected judges. It's going to fundamentally change representation at every level of government here in the United States.
And just to be clear, we're like to put it in some stark math, and I'm being a little ham-fisted here, but you could have a state that's 30% black, 35% black or more, and they would have not a single black person in the representation anywhere. That's
Very
that's
true.
fair. Yeah.
Our legislature passed a new congressional map on Thursday that took us down to 5 seats that are white majority. 1 seat even got whiter than it has ever been before. And only 1 black seat. And the same Calais plaintiffs have filed a lawsuit saying that's still a racial gerrymandering because they believe they're entitled to 6-0, even though Louisiana is 33% black. So this fight just started. It's not even ending yet.
And just for a little context, it's not just, I don't know if Dara can hear me now or not, but maybe not. But the in Maryland, and everyone's like, that's very exciting. It's a blue trifecta state. You know, we had someone who's our state Senate president saying that gerrymandering when he did not want to do the sort of what I call the saving democracy gerrymandering that that none of us wanted, but here we are. Said that gerrymandering by party is as bad as gerrymandering by race, and sort of, in a way, Kate, I know that you were nodding along there, and you do an enormous amount of work with supporting candidates who are often running for, state legislature, state a state representative, and you maybe have a lot of thoughts. And I know that you work very hard in the gerrymandering space, and now we have the race to gerrymandering to beat all races to gerrymandering. What do you see on the ground? How is this going to affect candidates? And is there anything practical that you guys are doing at Can't Win Victory Fund or Y'all Vote?
Yeah. So my first question, Blair, is how much am I allowed to swear on this?
All the fucking and fuck.
There you go. Terrific, because this is some real motherfucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Basically, where we are is we're watching congressional seats be gerrymandered for Republicans across the South. The way that we're going to mitigate those losses is actually by taking Southern state legislatures, because a lot of people don't know this, but it's your state senators and your state House reps who draw the voting maps that we're talking about. Y'all Vote is about trying to hold and flip critical seats that would be eliminated under Calais when maps get redrawn. It's sort of like Oath Vote did like a prediction forward about what might happen. And we're trying to make sure those candidates win so that they can be sort of like the firewall against what we expect to see after November. Like this, Lord have mercy. This is only the beginning. I don't know. I started this campaign to try and end gerrymandering, and somehow it has only gotten worse. And I haven't really stopped drinking since Calais. I don't know what to do with myself.
Apparently you do. No, I had never really thought about it, but yes, this is kind of, so to a little context for Kate. Kate lives in North Carolina, where I used to live for about 8 years as an adult, and we've got a situation in North Carolina that's been building over at least a decade, more than that. Actually, it's got to be like 20 years, but at least by now, where it was considered by many for a long time to be the most gerrymandered state in the country.
Right up till Texas beat us most.
Right. And that's just happened. Hey,
came back and they're like, hold my beer. I'm going to gerrymander some more.
I think you guys could still make a comeback. You tried, except in for what it's worth, the main gerrymanderer in chief lost his primary
by 2 votes. Everyone.
So every vote matters. Every vote
2
matters.
Votes.
By the way, just because we're doing this, we've got a comment here. I'm gonna going to put this up in the street. Somebody in our chat saying that they would love a little love. Further Emerge Boot Camp. Emerge is another
Heck
organization that
yeah.
works with chaps who would like to get some love for her Kentucky Second campaign, Megan Winningfield. So this is not a plant. This is just one of our folks out here in the chat. So thank you very much. And we'll leave this up here for a second before we put Kate's stuff back up there. So can you tell us just what are some of the things that so we all get a little bit of time to be really pissed off and angry and maybe a little bit sad, right? We get to do that. Now we're getting to about the end of that. We got Freedom Summer coming up here with All Roads Lead to the South. Voting rights is not something we get to think about only in September, October, November. This is going to be stuff we have to plan and have to see coming down the pike. Do you have any thoughts about what campaigns can do on the ground that are now finding themselves in rejiggered districts, or what maybe what we can look for out there that might be that more shenanigans? What sort of shenanigans?
Shenanigans is our preferred method of fighting back. So I want people to be thinking short-term and long-term. We're not always great at thinking about long-term planning as a party, as a people. I've used the word hope monsters. We're like, this is our year every single year. Short term, we have to hold and flip these 100 state legislative seats. Long term, we frankly have to run our asses off in these deep red districts that haven't heard from us in decades. For folks that don't know at home, there was this thing that happened in 2010, Operation Red Map. It was basically where the Republican Party decided to take as many state legislatures as they possibly could ahead of the new map drawing that follows every census. So voting maps come from the census. The census happens every 10 years. In 2030, we will have new maps because we will have a new census, right? We want the people who care about voting rights, who care about representation, who want a representative democracy, who think that competition is good for democracy. We want those folks in our state legislatures by 2030. And in a lot of these districts, people haven't heard from us in way too long. And so we are running hard now in those places to build the infrastructure, to build the momentum, to bring people together, to make community where it doesn't exist or hasn't existed in a while, so that by the time we're voting in 2030, there's an actual chance to flip those seats. So it's like a short-term thing, like go get them on these 100 state legislative seats. We got to hold and we got to flip. Long-term, like just find a state legislative candidate. I don't care if they can win or not. Actually, campaigns where you can't win are way more fun. And go help.
The only way I would ever run.
Honestly, you would be so great.
The freedom. It's just freedom. I would definitely lose.
Literally no one gives a shit about what you say. And so you can say anything. And then people are like, oh my God, it's an honest politician. I've never met one of those. And then they turn out to vote. And so it's really just, it is about having the backs of candidates who are willing to run despite the maps, who are willing to run and raise their hands to be Democrats in a red spot.
Okay. So I think that now don't go anywhere, Kate. I think that because I can't tell if Dara can hear me or not. Dara, or if not, Kate will translate. I think she said that she has something she can add to a little bit about
Dara,
strategy.
Talk about the strategy part.
And thank you, Kate, for interpreting what I'm hearing here. Yes. So in this, because what you were talking about in terms of like workarounds, right? Like this is what we're dealing with now, how to work with what we have. And I just do want to touch on even the wide application of this strategy of taking on alternative election systems as an approach. It doesn't even have to be through litigation as something, especially when it comes to those state legislatures, when it comes to those municipal county-based elections that you can have, because really what has been so problematic when it comes to election systems, one main issue has been at-large elections, where it only takes a very slim majority to win. And so folks, even though your community makes up a very large part of the population, you can be consistently outvoted and then never have a chance of having your candidate of choice elected. Even in those type of systems, though, when you can impose an alternative election system, like for instance, limited voting, where voters get multiple votes to cast for seats. It's less votes than the seats available, and that normally happens in places where there's more than one seat to vote for. But what that means is that there's more choice, and there's just a lower threshold to elect folks. So even beyond redistricting, that there's other solutions to look at. And really, I think this is, the call to really go deeper into that as a need and not just a consideration.
And I'm just going to say, anybody who is really into this stuff and wants to influence it, check out Sam Wong, who's running for New Jersey 12th and for Congress. I think their primary is in just a few days. He is basically running. He's the head of the Princeton Gerrymandering Project. He's brilliant. He is basically running to try to implement some of these voting changes that Dara's just talking about. And Dara, am I pronouncing your name right? I'm so sorry. We have just met for the first time. Is it Dara or Dara?
It's Dara, yes.
Dara.
I appreciate yes. I respond to
the things that Dara is talking about.
And you can tell Dara that I thank you for me. This is the weirdest tech issue I have ever encountered on the live stream, and that's saying something. So I am gonna go over now. If Dara can hang on, I'd like to go over back to the commissioner, Commissioner Lewis, and ask you about what strategies you see near term or short term to fight this voting rights fight. And he said, I swear to God.
Okay, sorry. I'm trying to find all the buttons.
No, that's what we're doing today. This is what this whole event is.
I mean,
scrappy.
I think some of the first things that we have to do is we have to never forget the power of our vote. I want to show you some statistics that happened here in Louisiana. As I told you, our governor suspended an election that was already happening. And typically an election at this time of year, we would see around 22% Black voter turnout. We ended the election that was 2 Saturdays ago with Black turnout at 34%. Black turnout is only 31% of the registered voters. So we saw a significant increase in Black participation. We also saw Black voters outvoted white voters in the state of Louisiana, which is unheard of. Black voters made up 31%. White voters made up 27%. And so while we are a multicultural, multiracial coalition, I think what this shows is the power when we vote. You go to the Georgia primaries. We saw the white share of Georgians voting on the Democratic ballot increase. We saw the share of Asian and Hispanic voters in Georgia increase. We go to Texas. And so I think the first step is never to forget the power of the vote. If our vote and our voice wasn't as powerful as it is, they would not work as hard as they are to ensure that we could not vote. And so while it sounds very cliche to keep saying vote, 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 the only reason they're passing voter ID laws, changing the primaries, making it harder, doing this, doing that is because they know they're the minority. And they know if we have easy access and we actually show up, they will not win. And so I think the first step is, A, vote. Second step is, let's challenge them at every level. Let's get rid of this idea that there's somehow a magical unicorn that's going to come in our states and win a district for city council, our state legislative, our governor. Let's just challenge them. Let's give people a reason to believe. I mean, I think about it all the time. The biggest voting bloc in America is not the conservative, it's not the liberal, it's the non-voter. So we need to tap non-voters and say, hey, this is why this matters. And sometimes it's just a random person, an average person saying, you know what, the system is rigged and I'm going to stand up and fight against it. And so I say, after you make the decision to vote, ask yourself, if not me, then who? And then run for office.
Yes.
Let's challenge them at every level. Let's not let anybody who has been denying our rights, whether it is women reproductive rights, whether it's LGBTQIA rights, whether it's voting rights, whether it's Black rights, whether it's labor rights, get a free pass by not challenging them simply because we're listening to the political procrastinators.
I have to add to this, Commissioner Lewis.
Go ahead.
By the way, Commissioner Lewis, meet your new best friend, Kate Barr. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm a big fan. Basically, the voting maps are predictive models. right? Like they draw these maps based on our past behavior and try and use them to predict our future behavior. Well, if you behave in unpredictable ways, then you break the maps.
Right.
So
and we're going to see this everywhere. I mean, I think that's the challenge we saw. Look at Texas's redistricting. They made a bunch of districts based off of the 2024 elections. And when you look at the primary and the runoff elections that just happened Tuesday in Texas, you're seeing that the 5 seats that they think they just gave President Trump, they may only get one of them. They may actually get none, and we may even flip a seat. So, like, this is, I think Kate's so right that they are utilizing historical data. And historical data in 2024 shows a lot of us did not show up to the polls. So let's not buy in to the people on Twitter and the people on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News that have convinced us that these elections are done. Let's get our neighbor, get our friends, get our cousins, get our person at the bar, whether you're wherever you may be,
that's
and
Kate.
grab them and let's say, let's vote and show them, guess what? The power lies with us.
Yeah, I first of all, cheers, hooray, thank you for talking about not just the stats and the vibes, but also like the reality. It's like these, you don't try me to like not vote. You don't try to get me to not vote that hard unless you know that voting is your kryptonite. And that's how we have to think of this. And you don't have to love everybody. You know what I mean? Guess what? You're not gonna. But what we're trying to do every time we vote, this is my vibe. You guys tell me if you agree. Every time you vote and people turn out more and then hold them accountable between elections, not just at election time, we improve our candidates. At least that's the idea. And if somebody disappoints us, guess what? We vote them out. And we we start paying attention to other people who might come in with better ideas or a stronger spine or whatever that might be. Now,
our leaders should be so afraid of us. They are not.
They should be terrified of us. The way some of our leaders blow us off, and look, they're busy. You can't talk to 500,000 people every day. If you're or whatever the exact number is, if you're a House rep, for example, but the amount of lack of town halls, the amount of lack of public accountability, the lack of communication between elections is gross. And I realize that in our current, this is a different problem, but we have put a situation, thank you again, Supreme Court, that they have to be constantly like fundraising and all this other stuff. But we've also shown that people who don't have as much money, but have a smart media or comms campaign, who are smart, who are affable and talk like real humans to real humans and are not just completely out of touch, don't need as much money. Because I think Elon Musk spent approximately $700 trillion to win one Wisconsin Supreme Court seat, and it didn't work. Cheesehead hat, case in point. So before we move on to and thank you to all our speakers, and this is just, it's been the exact kind of kitty chaos. Like, I love it. I love the energy because we're scrappy and we're making it work no matter what. So I hope that we can have you all on at another time and do a little bit of a deep dive, but and see how things have been going, a few months down the line. But I wanted to get just maybe somebody or an organization and include your own, pitch your own, but an organization and then maybe just your own that you think people should be aware of, should be following. And then just your hot tip or your hot piece of advice. And I'm gonna start with you, Commissioner Lewis, so that you can then go, do the job that you are elected to do.
I love the shades. Oh my!
I know.
Like we just
First
entered
of all,
nightlife.
I feel a little sad that we didn't get this earlier, but okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm underdressed.
It's sunny Louisiana, and
don't ever apologize.
In June, so I had to cool down a little bit. But so the first thing, if you are here in Louisiana or in the South, I will tell you, check out the Power Coalition for Equity and Justice. They are an organization that is mobilizing voters across Louisiana, left and right. And we have turned out voters every single day here, and their work is so important. So if you can volunteer with them, you can donate to them, I'm going to chime them. Secondly, I'm going to chime in two organizations that have been at the front line of our work here in Louisiana. It is the ACLU. I have to shout them out, not only the Louisiana chapter, but the national chapter and the sister chapters across the country who have led the fight of our legislative redistricting battle. And then secondly, the Legal Defense Fund. Janae Nelson, who is their leader, is the one who oral argued the Calais decision. They have represented us here in Louisiana for over 5 years. There's nothing to do there. So those are just some local places that are close to my heart here in Louisiana, but also national partners that I will say. And the last tidbit that I will let you know is that this is our moment. This is our new civil rights moment. This is the time. And I don't want you to feel like you have to do everything. There is a role for everybody to play. And whether you are the person that's the candidate, whether you're the person that's making the phone calls for a candidate, whether you're the person that's just showing up to the legislature and testifying, or whether you're a person just organizing your neighbors, do not discount your role in this moment. We are collective as one. All of us together will make a difference. So wherever you feel inclined to chime in, wherever you have the power to chip in, do so. You may not be the donor, but you may be the caller. You may not be the caller, you may be the texter. You may not be the texter, you may be the organizer. You may not be the organizer, you may just be the person that shares it on your Facebook, your Instagram, and your Twitter. Use this moment, stand up, and collectively, we can fight back and we shall win. Let's not give up, y'all.
All right. My new best friend too, Commissioner Devontae Lewis. And remember, if you sign up for our Substack, we're going to have a post going out on Wednesday that will go straight to your email address that has everybody's handles, the URLs for their organizations, as well as the organizations they're mentioning here and a few others. And so now, if she can hear me or if Kate can tell her what I asked, I'm going to go to Dara and ask her for who should we be following, what organizations or people should we be paying attention to, and then your sort of hot tip to help us in the world, all things voting rights this fall.
All right, Dara, we need to know, who are you supporting organizationally? That can be ACLU of Maryland. And what is your hot tip for what folks should be doing right now and like how to feel about it? How'd I do, Blair?
Well,
That was good.
Okay.
Thank you. And yes, I definitely would support our affiliate ACLUs nationwide. Definitely, if you are a Maryland resident interested in Maryland rights, definitely visit our website, sign up for our action alert, and that's where you can stay up to date on all the calls to action, especially ahead of the upcoming primaries, because that would be, I mean, I know it's broad, but it's really, really the main most important action people can take right now is vote in the primaries. There are some very contentious primary races in Maryland in particular. And so just showing up, getting your registration in by June 2nd, making sure if you're mailing in a ballot, take it to the drop box instead of putting it in the mail if you can. Just and make a plan, know where things are and show up. That's it. Yeah.
Thank you, Dara. And yes, so we're going to be working on voter registration for everybody in just a couple minutes. And Kate Barr, tell me, my friend, who should everyone be following in addition to your wonderful organizations? And then, just tell us what to do, like you like to do.
Yeah, I do. I do like to be the boss. So obviously check us out at can'twinvictoryfund.com, especially if you think someday you might want to run for office or you want to support folks who are running for office in these deep red districts right now. If you have any sort of social media presence at all, I do not need you to be a political content creator. I do not need you to be an expert at talking about candidates. Go sign up for Y'all Vote, basically, and you have to live in the South. Key part. Basically, what we are doing is helping connect these giant Southern accounts like Amanda's Mild Takes. And if y'all know Robert Arnold, who did he does so many amazing things, with smaller content creators who have maybe never talked about politics before and they might have private accounts even. All of that is fine. But we're going to win by engaging people who haven't been engaged before. And that takes y'all. And that really means showing up online, because that's where people's eyeballs are already. My other hot tip, like when it comes to bossing people around, I think everybody should run for office at least one time in their lives. Like, it's just a good character building sort of experience. And it makes you a little more empathetic and also more critical of the people who we get elected. Yeah, and we're here to help. So Can't Win Victory Fund is here to help people, from recruitment to training to support during your campaign, legally, I should say. We can help you at all steps along the way if you want to run for state ledge. Let us know.
All right, guys. I thank you all very much. And again, we will be sending out these links and these account handles and everything else in the next couple of days. And we're going to let all of these people go back to work, apparently Sunday night. But well, Commissioner Lewis is working, and we're going to have Sarah. I love my telephone game. And thank you so much, Kate, as ever, as always. But for the rest of you, don't go away. We got about 10 or 15 more minutes. I'm going to say goodbye to our...
There, can I put in a plug for your organization?
Oh, yeah. You can do that.
Yeah. Like,
oh, yeah, we're broke.
Like, first of all, the cat ladies need your money. But second, I feel like you have taken what was like sort of a lark from the Harris campaign, and you are really turning it into incredible chapters and a movement that is across the country and is accessible to people, like in a way that not many organizations are doing right now. And I just want to say that I have immense respect for you. I hope that everyone supports you and subscribes to your Substack and does all of the things that you are supposed to do for an organization like yours. And I don't know. I adore you. And I think the work you're doing is so important. And people should give you money. I said that into my microphone.
We don't need that much money, but we need a little money. Thank you, Kate and Dara. That's very nice. And I mean, shout out to all of our chapter captains, including one you're about to meet. But it has been a crazy year and a half, 2 years, and we try to remain accessible because I was not in this world until July 21st, 2024. And I made a joke on Instagram, and then I can't help myself. I always buy the URL. And then we were Cat Ladies for Kamala. And then it was like, what just happened? Whoops. How did I meet Oprah? But my point was just like, it was a crazy time. And we've always tried to remain accessible for people who care, who are smart, and didn't feel like before they had to be in deep or had to do all these sorts of things. And now they do, and they don't know where to go. So, and also a lot of them really love cats. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys, and I hope I get to see you again sooner rather than later. And then we're going to bring up Corey to help us take a couple of these actions. So bye, y'all. Thank you so much. Bye. Bye. There we go. I can't get rid of Kate. There. And now coming to the stage, our captain of I'm going to call it the Action Cat chapter, Corey. Corey, you want to take it away and explain what we're going to be doing here in just a second? And I'm going
to You're going to get my slides up.
There we go. Whoops.
So that was an awesome conversation. That was so great.
Oh my gosh, poor Dara. That was the craziest tech thing I've ever seen. Anyway,
yay technology!
And cheers to Kate for translating.
Yes, yeah, like that was so much information. I think I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it just to be able to take everything on.
To, because this will be out in podcast in a couple of days.
Sweet. So what we're going to do now to take all of that information, my last takeaway was something Dara said, that we all need to vote. We all need to vote in the fall. We all need to vote in the primaries. I know ours in New York State is coming up 23rd, I want to say. So the first thing we're going to do is something I do every month, and that is check my voter registration. So everybody, if you're on this call, get out your phone because I know you have it in front of you.
Okay.
Mine right here. Whoops, I'm sticking it.
And I'm going to put this in the chat just a second.
Yes, thank you, Blair. And we are going to. You can either. So there's a lot of ways you can check your voter registration. You can go straight to your state Board of Elections, election, whatever that office is called. I find it easier to go to the League of Women Voters, vote411.org, or Rock the Vote. So with your phone, whoops, where's my camera?
And
It is
I'm
in your
going to say
hand.
something that is not what you are saying, and not everyone
Do
would
it.
say. That, for example, we saw in the Texas primaries a few weeks ago, people were going to the state. They had just done all that redistricting and so forth. They were going to the state website, and the state website had not been updated, and they had people were being sent to the wrong place. So there you go. Some people, and there's our Denver chapter captains here, and they're putting
Oh,
it in
perfect.
Colorado specific.
Thank you.
And we're going to help you with some of that state by state stuff. But if in just a general way, so what I'm doing here is I'm going to go to the Suki's here, guys. She's going to trample all over my stuff. So I'm going to go here to vote 411, and I'm going to check on my voting registration right now. You don't have to share your screen because everybody doesn't have to see exactly where you live right here. And it's vote 411. I want everybody seriously to get out their phones, vote411.org. And then I'm going to check, I'm clicking the top right. I'm going to check my voter registration. I happen to live in Maryland. I'm going to pick it. It's really easy. We can all be doing this right now. My first name, my last name, my date of birth. Nobody needs to know that. And then I am going to my zip code. And then I am not a robot. Easy as that. Search and yes, I am at the League of Women Voters here, and it's got me ready to go. And in addition, it's telling me whether or not I need voter ID in my state.
That's nice.
When I vote. So that is really important. If you guys if you've gone ahead and already done it, if you've looked, please tell us in the chat if you have gone ahead to either vote411.org or rockthevote.org and checked your voter registration. And I'm going to put I'm registered and don't need ID. There we go. Somebody else?
So it's going to be.
There we go.
Yep. And
no one's giving you a compliment here, so I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. So in New York State, it doesn't say anything about ID, but I have my polling place. I have what districts I'm in.
Did you use Rock the Vote or 411?
I use 411, which brings me to the New York State election site. But it also gives me a link for a sample ballot, which dovetails nicely with something we'll talk about in about 3 minutes, maybe.
Okay.
So every state is going to be different. Your mileage is going to vary.
Okay.
And then honestly, I do this once a month, and then I post a link to my social media to have all my friends on Facebook and Instagram do the same. And I also check my husband and my sons at the same time.
We're gonna be getting there. We're gonna be getting there. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the next thing. So by now, if you have not, go ahead and check your voter registration as we go into the next one. Vote 411 or 411vote.org or rockthevote.org. And now I'm going to remove this banner here so we can see the whole slide. And so what we want you to do now, for real, I am doing it right now. I'm going to pick somebody. I want you to text somebody right now. And I'm going to say to my friend Adrienne, Cat Ladies said I have to check on a friend and tell them to check their voter registration at vote 411 vote411.org. Okay, I just sent that to my friend Adrienne. And who I know moved to Maryland not too long ago, a couple years ago, year and a half, but maybe, a lot happens when you move.
It does.
Go ahead, tell us if you are, text any friend, text your mom.
I'm texting my mom and dad.
Oh, Michelle needs ID. It's here. So she needs ID. I voted early the first day at state primary. Okay, great. Thank you for voting. And now we want all of you to text Doesn't have to be. I almost texted my husband who's upstairs, but then I'm like, I'm going to be able to nag him later. And go ahead.
Which is more fun.
And say the cat ladies said I have to do. Oh, you did the rock to vote. Oh, good. You found your registration. Oh, excellent, excellent, excellent. And just by the way, my friend who I texted, who's like, Adrian runs 92% women on social media. So you should check that out too. So the no ID needed. That's excellent. No ID needed. Way to go. Way to go. So that is what we expect you all. If you haven't done it already for whatever reason, we want you to text a friend tonight. Maybe it's someone who's moved. Maybe it's somebody who just I don't know, feels like you should ask anyone who just got married, got to change their name. Just anything at all. Doesn't even ask anybody young, anybody under 30 is fantastic. Ask those people. Ask your parents. Go ahead and ask somebody now or tonight.
I just texted my parents.
All right, good. Excellent. Loves to be able to turn the tables, start nagging your parents, start telling them, giving them chores now. That's how old we are. And, or
like in my case, I have a recent registered voter in my home. So if you have someone who just turned 18 or is going to be turning 18, you can nag your teenager about something else.
And isn't that what it's all about?
Honestly, that's
I am
the whole of parenting.
Now I am the prototypical childless cat lady, but I still would enjoy. I have a nephew. I can feel how that would be enjoyable. I feel like that would be enjoyable. And here we go. Another one voting by mail. Oh, that must be nice. That's the next stuff we're going to do. In part, we want to keep up on there's been a lot of changes in voting laws in a lot of places, and not just the redistricting, right, Corey?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was looking at my notes.
Yeah, and then what we're looking at, what we're looking to do next. So by now you have, and you've made a vow by coming to this free live stream tonight. You have made a blood vow, a blood oath, to make sure you really, really. I'm Italian and Jewish, and I can make you feel guilty through this screen. So you have to check your own registration tonight, and you have to text at least one person, and ask them if they've done it too, and put vote411.org in that chat so they can do it immediately. And then you nag them like I'm nagging you right now. And this is the nagging chain that will get us through this clown show. But
bonus points if you share it to your social media.
Well,
and nag all of your friends.
We've got a follow-up thing that's not for tonight, that's coming after this. As we get to the end of these slides. So Corey, we're choosing our own cat adventure. What does that mean?
So we've done the live action. So
in the moment, we're in the
check. Yep, we are in the moment.
We're on our phones watching a screen like we do every day. We're doing stuff, right? That just happened.
So I'm a child of the 80s. I love choose your own adventure books. So this is a choose your own action cat adventure.
Okay, tell me
we have got several slides of other actions. Some are super fast. Sign a petition, fill out an email form, make a phone call.
Okay.
So what we would like you to do, and you don't have to write any of these down. You don't have to remember any of them or even screenshot them. On Wednesday, we're going to post all of this to Substack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Choose an action. Choose 2 action. If you're an overachiever, do them all. And if you do that, we want to hear about it. But by the end of the month, let's say, do one more action. Oh,
I was going to say we're following up mid-month.
Oh, okay. So mid-month. We have a brand new month starting tomorrow.
You got a month to do it, but just know that we're not going to let it go. And we're going to be following up with it mid-month. Go ahead.
We're like a cat that hasn't been fed yet.
Yeah, God, that's a perfect.
We're not going to let it go. Right. So anyway, grab another action before mid-month so that when we bother you, you can be like, hey, I got this.
Certainly before the next Catty Chat Lives on June 28th.
Right. But we've got something for everyone. If you're like me, I'm an indoor cat. I like to do things behind my computer. Like the first one, sign a petition about keeping ICE agents away from your polling location.
Yeah.
The next one, using 5 calls to call. I actually use 5 calls sometimes to send emails. And
Yep,
I
you can do that.
feel no shame about that.
Yep.
To have them pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. You could go to the League of Women Voters again at vote411.org. They have got state by state information about the rules and restrictions for voting, and you can share those.
It's great. They have a graph and they have like 10 things across the top, like, do you need voter ID? Can I vote by mail? Etc. and so on, and state by state, and has either a check mark or an X. And if you want to know more about that particular topic, you can go in. It is actually fantastic website. And when Commissioner Lewis was talking about we don't need to reinvent the wheel, we don't need to be, that includes Cat Ladies for America. We did not build a website with all that information.
No.
We are happy to have you go to other people. We're happy to use other people's work to save democracy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Someone has already done all the work. If you are an outdoor cat, host a voter registration event, volunteer to be a poll worker. I've got a friend here, every election, school board, local, national, she is volunteering at the polls. It's
and
so
some
cool.
places they pay you. In Maryland
they do
pay you. Yeah.
Yeah.
They pay you.
Get
a little of that tax money back.
Right, exactly. You can volunteer to drive folks to the polls. You can contribute to funds for the rideshare companies to do it. And then the last thing, which I think Kate talked about, it's just knowing what you're voting for and knowing who you're voting for. And again, the League of Women Voters has our back. You can see a sample ballot for
Probably
your
a lot
state.
of cat ladies in that group. Probably a lot of
Oh, I think so. Yeah, a lot of cat ladies.
I think so.
And again, that is something we're sharing because everybody here, we are clued in to what's going on. We have been watching this for 10 years now. But not all of our friends live this, like not all of our friends, watch the news all the time.
And like
I do.
No shade. Like,
right, exactly. Exactly.
Before July 2024, I always voted. And a lot of people are not like this
Yep.
either. But I always voted and I watched the news, and I had done in 2020, like I was a lawyer 100 years ago for a hot minute. It's a long story anyway, but I did like some, voter protection stuff in Philly or whatever. And, and I would donate, and that used to seem to be like enough. And I would tell friends like who I liked and that sort of thing. And in a way that is enough, but we all have to do, like, you don't have to be an expert on this. And it's
right.
Like everybody did one of these things for the first time.
Yes.
I promise you will be fine. You do not have to be some like political genius or like obsessed with it. And people are trying to survive right now. People are trying to like pay rent, pay mortgage, pay gasoline, pay for food, pay for kids to like have clothes on their back and God knows go to college. And so, or they're taking care of an elderly parent, or they themselves or somebody else has a physical disability that they have to manage, and there's all kinds of paperwork and bureaucracy to go with that. So what we're saying is we understand why people are not like on top of all this shit, because it's hard to just be on top of like getting through your day. But if you have a little extra time, if you are here today, you can make a big difference by doing one of these things, or just telling 5 or 10 of your friends or your network, or posting on social media, right? Because it's not going to be just one of us. It's going to be all of us doing our little parts.
Yeah. And I know for myself, sometimes, even though I follow along and I try to know what's happening, I get to vote, and there's some, ballot question that I was like, where'd this come from? So we all need that little bit of extra information.
And so what we're going to do, and also here's some organizations to follow, and these are going to be included in that follow-up that Corey, who is, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, Corey is also the managing editor of our Substack, because stuff I write should be looked at by other people first, but also like she writes some of our pieces. We have guests. We're having something by the folks at DI Citizens Bank, trying to get Geo Group unbanked at Citizens Bank, a piece in the next day. So we have a lot of news and reporting and other stuff there. So I just want you to know Corey does a lot of stuff. And so this is going to be going out on Wednesday with all the follow-up information and the stuff
Yep.
you heard tonight. But just, because we want to, it's hard to, I'm profoundly ADHD, in case you can't tell. And I don't suffer from a reminder. And so one of the I also like fun things that are easy. So we are making little graphics for everybody. They're going to look the same. There's going to be a cat. There's going to be a state like Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Arizona. I may have had those backwards alphabetically. And we're going to be sending those out in a couple of weeks so that you can post a reminder to your friends with a link to the League of Women Voters, because they have a page for every single state about the very specific rules. And the posts are going to be really simple for you can put them on Blue Sky or Threads or Facebook. And it's just going to say like, hey, there's a really cute cat on it. And it's just going to say like, hey, voting rules in Alabama can be complicated. Don't wait till September to see if blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to give the URL of where to go look. So that's one of the things we would love for you to have. That's one of the things we would love to have, that we're going to send out a link to those that you can download from Dropbox and then use them in your own social media. Little things like that actually can break through, especially when a lot of people are doing it at the same time. All right, Corey, and thanks again, Eve. It's like I don't have my glasses on. It's an Eve ass. There's a whole thing, but I don't have my glasses on, so I can't really read it right. But is there anything else that we need to know before we say goodbye and thank everybody for the time? We're trying to keep these things crisp. We're trying to keep it crisp.
No, I think we've hit everything, and we will be in touch again on Wednesday.
All right, guys. And so just a reminder, you can find everything we've talked about here at catladiesforamerica.com. Our website. On our homepage is a lot of the stuff you need, including the place to sign up to subscribe for our Substack. You can sign up for free. We don't expect but we always want to keep it a free option. Everything we do, we want it to be free for the general public, because we never want somebody to be stopped from getting important information or just community because of a paywall, especially in this day and age. What that does mean is we're asking for people who aren't quite as strapped. If you have a couple of bucks a month that you can pledge when you subscribe to us, it's really, really welcome. We are all volunteer, but we do spend it on our Mobilize account, this StreamYard, the Action Network that we use for our lists, all kinds of things that we use for organizing, and software, costs more than you might think when it all gets added up together. And so we really appreciate that. But if you just go there, you can find most of the information. And just keep in mind that if you sign up for the Substack, free or pledge, you are going to get all this information. So don't worry about like going back and screenshotting this. And we will see you back here for the next Catty Chats Live on Sunday, June 28th, where we're going to have some wonderful speakers talking about, a lot of the things we need to be aware of on the attack on the rights of LGBTQI members. And happy Pride to everybody starting tomorrow.
Yay.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Corey, we're gonna do a claws out meow. You ready?
Hold on. I'm ready.
Hold on. Let's take this. We're gonna have a big screen. Are you excited? All right, everybody.
Hold on.
All right.
Okay. Ready?
All right. 3, 2, 1. Claws
out. Wow.